So today I'm unbeaten again, this time in Mythic, with a massive army of robots that just get bigger and bigger each time our opponents give us a removal target. Hey everyone, Hex here, and today I'm playing a super cool deck making enormous constructs to help take down our opponents. Firstly, don't forget to like and subscribe if you enjoy this content, and also check the stats for my decks over on untapped.gg. There's now a link in the description if you too want to download it for yourself to help keep track of your progress. But onto this deck, and we are using the sweet new card in Simulacrum Synthesizer to make an army of artifact creatures. It's a 3-drop artifact that scries 2 when it ETBs, but more importantly, each time an artifact with mana value 3 or more ETBs on your side of the board, you get to make a construct token whose power and toughness is equal to the amount of artifacts you control. Trust me, this card gets way out of hand very quickly. So our game plan today is to use the exile type artifacts to both remove our opponent's creatures and then make new constructs for ourselves. I've got Assimilation Aegis, which for 3 mana exiles target creature until the Aegis leaves the battlefield, but for 2 mana you can equip the Aegis to another target creature to turn it into the exiled card. And I'm running Annex Sentries to help exile your opponent's 3 mana or less creatures. These 8 artifacts form the basis of our deck and allow us to stay on top of the board. Other artifacts include Thran Spiders, which with a synthesizer around make 3 artifacts when they ETB, plus they have the not so hidden reach to help keep slick shots at bay. I'm running Cryptic Coats too, as repeatable ways to make constructs and creatures. And lastly, our biggest play, the Smithies. They make gnomes when they ETB, plus late on can make even more creatures if you've managed to craft it into a land. Now in testing, I desperately needed earlier plays than turn 3, so here's our small package. Skrelv is an artifact that helps protect your sentries, Market Gnomes for some life gain and early blockers. Trust me, these save you a lot of life played early on turn 1. I've got clay-fired bricks to help find lands and gain life, with Glass Caskets to help nab those prowess creatures too. All these artifacts make bigger constructs later on, and all carefully are chosen to help survive the first 3 or 4 turns. Interaction wise, no more lies, and the ever so good 3 steps ahead. Yeah, they counter spells, but at instant speed for 4 mana can create a copy of your Sentry or Aegis to take down attacking threats from your opponents at instant speed. And finally, I've got some Get Lost for those emergency situations when you just need some normal removal. Today I've got 23 lands, and that is the deck. So I've tried this deck in various colours, specifically with red, and sometimes with much more pricey artifacts, but this build makes me the most happy. You have to decide what route you want to take, whether it's control or aggro. I did play 9 games with my blue-white build here and won 9, with a slight change of cards after the first 3 victories, as those were way too tight for my liking. I've got the 6 games from today and a bonus one from last night to show you for my run, so I hope you enjoy, and I'll catch you again in the next video. Alright then, on the play. And an ideal start with our synthesizer in our opening hand. Also have our Glass Casket and No More Lies. No More Lies, a great addition to this deck. I was originally running Make Disappear, but I just feel like this is just much better in this deck. And having early plays is pretty important. Glass Casket, although it doesn't trigger the synthesizer, it does create an artifact to help boost up your constructs later, but also it does deal with some early threats that we don't want to really be waiting till turn 3 or turn 4 to deal with. Opponent's been in the tank for a while. They drop a forest. Okay, well, no targets for the casket, so we will just pass our turn. We have No More Lies available that I definitely really want to fire off. Definitely on the Scrap Gorger there. Could have waited and then casketed it, but we want to get this synthesizer down ASAP. The whole deck is built around this, and it's important. This hits the battlefield as early as possible. Hopefully the opponent just plays a 2 mana creature that we can casket here. So I've been playing this deck a lot over the last couple of days, tinkering around to find the best formula. Opponent with a familiar, and we draw an Aegis, which is really nice. Although I don't really want to use the Aegis, which can take any creature on this Bramble familiar. I'm just going to go for the casket here because it's a target for this. I settled on the Azorius version. I did have a Jeskai version. I've seen so many different lists online about this. Going more aggro, going more control-y, but I'm really enjoying the build I have here. Opponent with another familiar, which we will this time cast our synthesizer that we just drew. So sort of shields down, and another synthesizer and a gnome there. Yeah, I mean, 3 synthesizers is pretty nice. Not too many people are playing artifact removal. I think farewell is our biggest problem, but we'll definitely drop this synthesizer here. They did play a Gwena. Yeah, and this is going to create a couple of massive constructs, Thran Spider and a Get Lost. Well, we are certainly going to be on the aggro beatdown plan here. I think we'll go for Get Lost actually, although it is a removal spell and it doesn't trigger any of our synthesizers. We could easily be winning next turn if we destroy any major blockers that are in the way. We'll take Gwena here, we'll take the opponent for 11. And next turn we have 6 11s attacking them down. Yeah, and they scoop it up. That was way too much damage there. Alright then, on the play. Game number 2 of my synthesizer deck here. I did play 3 games last night in testing. I won them all actually, but did want to make some changes. Adding these clay-fired bricks to the deck, just to give us something else to do on turn 2. Keep our life totals as high as possible. Clearly our nemesis may be up against very quick aggro prowess style decks. I'm hoping the bricks can save us by the small amounts of life gain before we can deploy these sentries. Put it with Glimpse the Core. Okay. I don't mind seeing that. We have a couple of options here. Definitely play the Gnome. Another 1-drop in the deck that, although it doesn't trigger the synthesizer, it's quite nice at just being a blocker. I've certainly had a few games saved with the Market Gnome recently. They just can't get through it early on. Patient opponent with Invasion of Tarkir. So maybe a dragon deck, but they are playing Gruul, so I'm not entirely sure what brew we're up against. That's what I'm loving about Standard at the moment. There are so many different strategies and decks. Yeah, and they just kill my Gnome. We get immediate value there with a life and draw a card. That is a Dracosaur on top for them. We did draw a Synthesizer though, so... yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of options here, but... Synthesizer is definitely the right one here. So kind of want them to play this Dracosaur. Then we can Aegis it. They play with fire at our face, so we go back down to 20. Okay. The scrying on this is pretty nice. A couple of Glass Caskets here. Okay. Would like them earlier on, but don't really want them right now. Don't need any more removal like that when we have 3 in our hand. Opponent with a Stinger, back Terror. Okay. A new card. Flying and Trample. So we can bricks here. Find ourselves a Plains. Gain some life, and then I guess we're going to have to Aegis. So we could Aegis the Terror here to keep it off the board. Or we play another Synthesizer. Can't Sentry. Unfortunately, I don't think we're going to be able to do much Sentrying with the opponent's deck at all. Let's go for the Aegis. Let's just keep this as clear as possible. Make a 5/5. And if they play this Dracosaur, we might be able to find a way with the scrying of the new Synthesizer to deal with that. Another Sentry, okay. Obviously these don't work too well against these high-powered creatures. Let's scry, let's see what's going on. Gonna make another 6/6. Guess it becomes a 7/7. 3 steps ahead is really nice. So although this is a counter spell, you can actually create a token that's a copy of an artifact you control. So at instant speed, you can start copying your sentries, your Aegis, to nab your opponent's threats. But we've got them down to 13. And I would have thought they'd be incentivized here to go after the invasion. Opponent with Terror of the Peaks. I don't think so. Definitely not going to want to see that one on the battlefield here. So that looks like what they're up to, a Gruul Monster deck. I love those kind of decks. Some really nice new additions to help that strategy. Okay, so our ideal draw would have probably been a land, but we scryed the 3 steps ahead on top, because we could have just then sentryed the 2 creatures off the board. Maybe I should have left a land on top. Yeah. Okay, well, let's just go for max damage here. Sentry away their 4/4. Smash them for 20 damage. They're going to have to block. And yeah, we're just definitely going to be on an aggro here. So we could turn one of our constructs here into a 7/7 flyer. I don't think it makes any difference. It also puts the creature very vulnerably around if they want to have non-artifact removal spells. So we'll just attack them here. 20 damage. They're going to have to chump. I don't know what they can have right now. They're going to have to do a lot of damage to us pretty quickly. We have a couple of sentries if they play any more small creatures. It is Storm the Festival. Okay, but I mean, if this is a Terror of the Peaks, we might be in a bit of trouble here. It is not. It is a land and an artifact. So another Dracosaur for our opponent is not going to do it. That was Ancient Cornucopia. Yeah, 2/5/5s isn't going to work when we're attacking with 40 damage. And I'll just show how this works. Okay, I was going to create a copy of the Aegis to take care of one of the Dracosaurs, but we won anyway. Alright then, on the draw. Game number 3 here, won in the last couple of games. Been quite impressed with how things have gone. We have our Synthesizer in our opening hand. Whether that is by luck or skill. I seem to be drawing that early, but we didn't have it in the last game till later on, so we'll see how this one goes. This just shows how good the Market Gnome here is in this deck. It's just going to block this pack leader from the opponent. And basically save us 3 damage. Okay, well they have Audacity. Alright, well it's going to do something else here. It's going to save us 3 damage, but it's also going to draw us a card here. Gain us a life, and we draw a Clayfired Bricks. Okay, and there's an Aegis. Well, just going to nab their pack leader here with Glass Casket. They do get to draw a card with the Audacity. I don't mind where we are right now. We have the Synthesizer into the Aegis. They do find a Cemetery Prowler though, but I don't think that is that much of an issue. I certainly don't want them to keep playing too many big creatures, but let's go for the Synthesizer here. It has the biggest upside later in the game. Couple of lands. Not what I want to see. So it'd be nice here if the opponent almost breaks a little bit. We will see. It is an oddity. Okay, 4/4 Trample Haste. Alright, this is a bit of pressure here. This is our toughest game so far. Sure, I mean, another Aegis off the top is going to be great. So we'll drop this one. We'll take care of their oddity here. It's their biggest threat. It's going to make a 4/4 so we can block their Prowler. So yeah, a really nice little turn of events there for us. Broken Wings. I mean, okay. I know there's a lot of artifact and enchantment removal around, but that is a play by the opponent, and armor on the oddity here. And this is a massive attack. Alright, well, we're going to 1 because I want to get this Lightness of the Seeker off the battlefield. Was that risky? We'll see. Okay, so we have 2 plays here. So we can play the bricks here, gain us 2 life. Just going to show this life gain that we have in the decks. Very incremental, but it is very necessary. The Aegis here, I mean, there's only 1 target here. We have to take the oddity. I mean, this does make a 5/5, which blocks the Prowler, so we're certainly not dead. And they do find just a land. There's no more lies. Okay. Probably not good enough right now. Okay, so we have to do 2 things. We have to stop dying, but we also have to find a way to win. Would it be nice to have a few more 3-mana artifacts here? But I think the best thing we can do is almost tempt them into wanting to attack us. So let's attack with a 5/5 here. We can always sacrifice our Clayfired Bricks if necessary. We have a blocker in the Anchorage, but we also have Eiganjo. Alright, so hopefully they just attack us here. Yep, kind of baited them into that one a little bit. So we're playing to our outs a little bit here, although we're risking a lot here on 3 life. We have to take a few risks. This deck does... It is susceptible to very early aggressive plays, but we're just going to hold down the late games a little bit. And yeah, so if they do have hasty creatures, that's probably the biggest threat that we're facing right now. We can make our Anchorage here a creature. And let's just... jam. I guess we can put the Aegis onto the Anchorage or the 5/5 if we wanted to. I guess we want to just hold open the No More Lies though, just to ensure that we're not taking major damage. And the map token's nice as it does boost our construct. It is now a 6/6, so probably a Smithy would be nice. Packstone Pup for the opponent, and a Market Gnome. Okay. I really want to keep the No More Lies up if possible in case they have something like a Nissa or something. So let's just... Okay, it's a 2/3, so it's not... I thought this was going to be a 4/4. Okay, I'm not really sure what's going on here. So the Aegis does turn your creature into a copy of the creature, and it's now a 4/4. Okay, I'm not entirely sure what's going on there. I think it's because the land, when it's a creature, says the creature becomes a 2/3 and it's overriding the Aegis's ability. But let me know in the comments if you know what just happened with that interaction. I thought I'd be attacking with a 4/4 last turn. I'm going to have to absolutely understand what went on there. I was going to unleash our hand here and get in there, holding open the No More Lies. There's a clay-fired bricks on top. Probably not what we want here. Now, the opponent might well get a hasty threat, but we can No More Lies that as long as we're not going to die. We have our bricks available if we need to save. I think we're okay here. Okay, well, they did find a 4/4 haster. They can do 5 damage to us, but we can soak up 3 of it. So we go down to 1. Yeah, and they can't pump up their oddity here, so... We'll go down to a precarious 1 for the second time in this game. The opponent here is on 2 life. We gain a life back with our gnome and they scoop it up. Okay, good game there. Alright, game number 4 here. We're on a bit of a winning streak, so I won 3 games in a row last night in testing before I made a few adjustments to the deck. And we're on a bit of a run here. Opponent with Training Grounds. As we find our 1-drop in the gnome, which is lovely for us to see. Can hold back any hasty threats from our opponent as they play a Duelist of the Mind. Alright. And Thran Spider here, a perfect card to block the Duelist. And Proft, well, we'll just No More Lies that. Keep them off their place. Oh, they scoop it up. They didn't like that, did they? Alright, on the play after that very quick game a moment ago. So we'll drop Skrelv. Just 1 copy of Skrelv in the deck. It is an artifact. It can also help get creatures through if need be. The other card which you could play is Steel Seraph. It is a 3-mana card, so it will trigger your Synthesizer. It can also give your creatures lifelink or flying. Just don't think it is completely necessary, and I've been using the Cryptic Coat. And I've had a bit of luck with that. So I'm happy with the way things are going. Opponent with Bristly Bill. The Spine Tower. Okay, well, gonna have to play this Synthesizer because we need to get this down. Glass Casket, maybe not so good. Sentry is nice, as the Bristly Bill is just a 2-mana creature. And it has landfall, so it's gonna start getting very big. Alright, Kodama. Alright, that's a nice little opening turn here for our opponent as they get to grab a land. And yeah, the landfall trigger on the Bristly Bill puts a counter on Kodama. I really like their deck, actually. I'm not the biggest fan of these kind of mono-green counter-style strategies, but what they've got going on there is really nice. And that's a lot of power and toughness for them. Obviously, we can deal with one of their creatures. Kodama being a 3-mana creature. I think Kodama might actually be the problem right now. Casket can take care of the Bristly Bill next turn, but I think we need to deal with Kodama right now. Can't have them ramping too much. And a Sentry can do that. And we'll just hold back in case they try and kill one of my creatures here. So all my stats are available on untapped.gg. And if you go into my description, you can find a link there to download it for yourself. Plus a link to my stats so you can see these games online to see the opponent's decks and my decks that I've been playing, not just this one, but all the decks in the new set, including my favourite deck, the old Infinite Combo deck, in my last video there. Went very well. It got me all the way through to the Mythic rank pretty quickly. I have a sneaky suspicion that something might be done to that deck to stop it happening, because it just seemed quite easy to deal with. But our opponents aren't really aware of what was going on, so I think as they are more aware of what holding back interaction and things, the combo might not be so great. But we will casket here, the Bristly Bill, dealing with that one, and yeah, our board is looking mighty fine right now. I guess we'll go for the... Could go for the Spider, but I think let's just hold open the counter spell. And then let's get in there. Let's put the opponent on a clock. They're down to 11. Next turn, Spider is going to make 2 artifacts. Well, it's going to make 3 artifacts, so hopefully they just play a big creature here. Gold Vein Hydra is the clearest counter spell of the day. We'll do that. And I think Thran Spider might be lethal, but opponent scoops it up anyway. Okay. Alright, game number 6 will be my last game that I play with this deck. I like to play 6 games for a video here. It's gone up pretty nicely. Not played against any mono red today, or is it, or decks with our good friend the Slick Shot. But we are okay against that deck. I mean, if they were to just plot the Slick Shots and fire 2 or 3 off on the same turn, yeah, we may have a problem there, but I think most decks would. But the Caskets and the Thran Spiders are pretty nice at just holding back those threats until we can start exiling their creatures. Put it with a Agatha's Soul Cauldron, okay. Have absolutely no idea what we are necessarily playing against here. I mean, they did have a Kervek, so I'm wondering if they are just mono black crimes or a discard deck. We'll see. I'm interested in playing a discard deck soon. I used to love playing those when I was a little bit younger, and haven't played with them recently, but I want to see how good that can work with the whole crime strategy we have going on in Standard at the moment. If anyone has any lists, I'd love to see them. You can drop them in on Twitter or over on my Discord. Again, links are in the description here. We will just play the whole draw go strategy, looking for our synthesizer here. If they are mono black, then they may have a problem sort of dealing with our artifacts. A lot of them play go for the throat. Opponent with Shelly, which we can normalize here, which I think I will, as we don't actually have any clean ways to deal with that card just yet. And that exiles it, so Agatha's Soul Cauldron doesn't get to pop a counter on one of their creatures. Okay, Aegis is nice. That is very nice there. So we have a couple of plays here. We can attack with the Anchorage. We can play a Smithy, but I think let's keep popping artifacts on the board. Let's get ourselves a Power Stone. I'm not entirely sure the opponent's going to have too many ways to interact with a Power Stone on their turn. And I'm not hating our position right now. This is a much slower game here. Another Shelly. Okay, well, we can exile that next turn. And then we can maybe even start turning our own creatures into Sheldreds. But the thing with that is that does open up the door if the opponent has any removal that isn't go for the throat. But this is just an obvious Assimilation Aegis here on the Shelly. And they've definitely got something available. I guess it's the Agatha's Soul Cauldron that is holding priority there. Would like to get this Smithy on the board soon though. We have 2 of them, so it'll be nice to get one down and actually craft it, and then we can get the second one down. So yeah, let's go for that over the next couple of turns. The bricks here, gain 2 life, find a plains. I'm telling you, this clay-fired bricks has changed my deck. Originally, we were just not necessarily hitting the mana, but I really like this. Went with a Trespass, okay. Annoying card. But nothing we can't handle here. Let's go for the Smithy, I guess. We can make a large creature here. Then we have a Sentry to deal with the Trespasser. That's it, a 7/7 on the board. And yeah, I think these Glass Caskets are not so great against our opponent's deck. They did have a Kervek. And this obviously boosts up our Gnome to an 8/8. I guess the worry here may be a cut down on the Sentry. Something to be wary of. I'm not going to attack. It's only 2 damage. I'd rather just hold it back for a minute, and if they did have a cut down, they might find a way to ambush my creature. Lord Skitter. Okay, so they really hate graveyards here with the Trespasser and the Lord Skitter. So they've clearly had a few problems with the World Souls Rage deck. I don't blame them at all. That is a deck that I think we would have a problem with, but I haven't come across it with this particular build. So yeah, we'll just craft up our Smithy there into our land, and then we can start making lots of massive creatures without the synthesizer on the board. Again, they might have a removal here for the Anchorage or the Sentry, but we'll just get in there with the 9/9 and the 2/3. Make a map token, which further boosts the power and toughness of our Gnome. They go down to 16, so I don't want to put anything else on the board, just in case they have a board wipe. But that wouldn't be the end of the world, as we do have the Anchorage, plus now we can start making massive Gnomes with our Smithy. The Smithy is a fantastic addition to this deck. It is our top end. It is absolutely a game-winning strategy there to get the Smithy onto the battlefield and get it as a land. But they don't attack with their 1/1, which doesn't block anyway. They have 5 open mana. So what are they doing? Let's just get in there with the Anchorage for the minute. Again, I don't want to overextend. They didn't have removal last turn. They do have Go for the Throat, which they've probably been holding for a while, and they just have no targets, as our creatures are all artifacts. I love it. Okay, well, they do have Anoint with Affliction to take care of our 8/8, which is a nice little play for them. Alright, let's just drop the other Smithy then and make a couple more 8/8s, or I'm not sure what even power and toughness these are going to be. 2 10/10s, there we go. So they have a massive problem here with 2 10/10s, and it's Chimil for the opponent. What do they find? Off the top, it is a March of Wretched Sorrow, and they scoop it up, and that's a clean 6-0 there. Alright, bonus game here, as I wanted to show one of the games from last night when I was testing this particular deck. There's a couple of cards that aren't in the original list here, like Spell Pierce, but wanted to show how we get on against a more aggro deck, opponent with a turn 1 Swift Spear. And that is Adarkar Wastes for us. Alright, well, the Glass Casket here can nab their 1/2. Okay, opponent. They've definitely got things to do in their hand. Maybe just holding open removals. They are playing Rakdos. Okay, well, they have a Braid straight away to deal with the Casket. Okay, fair enough. Well, a Braid is a bit of a problem for our deck, but if they're going to use it on the Casket, so be it. Kamano and the Swift Spear gets in there as a 2/3. Nope, it gets in there as a 3/4, and 3 to our face with a Lightning Strike. We go down to 11. Okay, Tinker's Tote. Okay, well, let's Sentry away the Swift Spear here. Do they have another Abrade? Or can they do 4 damage to our creature? It's Kamano, faces Kakazan, okay. A couple of those on the battlefield is a little bit annoying, so glad we managed to get this Swift Spear off the board here. Well, they do have another Abrade, okay. You might have wanted to Abrade our creature first, and then Kamano'd to get an extra point of damage through. Well, we have another Sentry ready for their Swift Spear. We are on 9 though, and there's a couple of creatures on deck here about to come in at me. Not sure I would block if they were to attack with the Etch in here though. Okay, play with fire to our face. We go down to 7. Definitely going to need to find some life gain. Don't think there's any in the deck here. Probably need to put some more in here though. Glass Casket here to take care of the Etching of Kamano. Okay, but we are running low on resources. We really could do with some land. We could definitely do with our Synthesizer here. Guess we can double spell, although we take a damage here. Skrelv, I think, can help us a little bit. We'll just keep the 1/4 back. Can't be taking any more damage from them, especially with the etch in here or any Swift Spears. Okay, Coast, sure. So we have counter magic available, or we can play a Thran Spider, which would block a Slick Shot. Just have to hold back. Definitely need a Synthesizer ASAP. We'll hold open the counter magic, I think. Lightning strike to our face. Well, let's just take that. So we go down to 3. Okay, unfortunately our lands as well are damaged. Are gonna do damage to us when we cast our counter spells. Okay, well they have a braid for the Sentry. All right, well we're gonna have to counter that one. We go down to the lowly total of 2. Opponent's still on 17 here. All right, it's gonna be a top deck battle. Are they gonna find a lightning strike or play with fire off the top? Play the Tinker's Tote, so we can sacrifice this for 3 life. And yeah, let's get in there with the Sentry here. We've got a couple of gnomes to block if we need to. Alright, our shields are kind of down a little bit here. They get in there with the etching. Alright, well, this is a double block situation going on here. Try and get this off the board here. What have they got? Wow, they found a monstrous rage. Alright. Yeah, that would kill us, I guess, but we can gain 3 life back with the Tinker's Toe, or back up to 2. Okay. Very tough game here as we find a gnome. Alright, we'll play this one. Yeah, and we will just have to pass the turn. It could have got in there maybe with the Sentry, but we are risking our life and death if they find a hasty creature off the top. And that is a Slick Shot show off. Okay. So we can counter that. But I think we have a slightly better play here. So yeah, this is something that's built into this deck that doesn't come up often, but we can use 3 steps ahead here. Instead of countering their spells, we can create a copy of the Sentry and actually exile their show off. Nice little play there from us. So we just find a plains. Goodness me, this is a tough old game. Let's get a Spider down, which will block any more Slick Shots coming our way. These Slick Shots are driving me nuts at the moment. They are such a good card. They're so powerful. Opponent with another Slick Shot there. But they can't actually do anything because our Thran Spider has reach and we find a Sentry. Okay, well, this is a fun game of Magic. So we can go after the Etching of Kumano here or the Slick Shot. Slick Shot is annoying if they have something like Monstrous Rage. I can deal with the Etching just for the minute. No attacks, we're just going to hold back. We're still looking for our Synthesizer here. It's just a land for our opponent. Finally, they brick on their turn. And that is an Aegis. Alright, well, we'll play that to take care of their Etching. And, yeah, let's just attack here. Okay, well, did not mean to attack with the 0-3 there. Oh, my days. I did not mean to attack with my gnome. It's a Swift Spear. Okay, wow. Down to 1 as we find another Aegis off the top. Okay, this is a game for the Aegis, I think. Yeah, let's eat that Swift Spear and attack our opponent here with... Let's just get in there with our toxic creatures. Opponent is going to go to 8 toxic here. Okay, so just 2 more hits. What do they find at the top? So they are dead next turn. Face down card, okay. Is that a Pyrotechnic? No, it's a Code Breaker. Okay, to discard their hand and draw 3 cards. They're looking for what? Mountain and Play with Fire, maybe? Code Breaker, okay. This isn't lethal, is it? We can block with the Gnome. We can block with the Spider. Okay, so maybe we've ridden our luck in this game as we find our Synthesizer, but what a game here. Certainly learned a lot about this deck. And yeah, this is an aggressive, hasty, prowess deck we've played against here, and we're actually going to kill them with toxic damage. Unbelievable.